Mark, I want to start today with a moment, a very specific moment. I want everyone listening to picture it with us.
Okay, walk us in.
You are with a group, maybe colleagues at a work lunch, maybe friends at a bar, maybe new acquaintances at a party. Everyone is speaking English. The conversation is going fast. Someone tells a joke. The pace is quick. There is some slang, maybe a cultural reference, maybe a pun.
Mm-hmm.
You and everyone around you start to laugh. Real laughter, the kind that happens immediately. And in that moment, you do the thing. You laugh too. You smile, you nod, you make a small sound that resembles a chuckle. You look like you got it.
Yes.
Except you didn't. You missed the joke completely. Maybe a word, maybe a reference, maybe the timing. Something didn't land for you. And now you are standing in a group of people who think you laughed because you understood. And inside, you feel completely alone.
And here's what makes this so painful. The nervous laugh is invisible to the people around you. They don't see it. They don't notice it. So you walk away with no consequences in the room. But inside, the feeling lingers. The sense that you faked it, that you weren't really part of the moment, that everyone else connected over the joke and you connected over a lie.
And the worst part is, this happens again and again throughout meetings, throughout dinners, throughout casual conversations, year after year. And every time it happens, the learner adds one more small deposit to a growing internal feeling, a feeling that says, I am not really part of these groups. I am performing belonging. I am a fraud.
And the irony is that almost every advanced learner does this constantly. It is one of the most universal hidden experiences of being a non-native English speaker, and yet almost nobody talks about it, because admitting it feels like admitting weakness.
So today, we are going to talk about it, honestly, because the nervous laugh is not a small thing. It is one of the most corrosive habits in advanced language learning. It damages your real connection with the people around you. It damages your professional confidence over time, and it teaches your brain that hiding your gaps is safer than naming them, which is the opposite of what is actually true.
And we are going to give you the way out, specific power phrases that you can use the next time the joke goes by and you didn't catch it. Phrases that let you say in real time, wait, I missed that. What does that mean? Without losing your authority, without sounding weak, without feeling small. We are going to show you that the moment of asking is actually the moment of strength, not weakness.
Welcome to Side by Side English Podcasts. I'm Sophie.
I'm Mark. Today is for the B2 or C1 learner who has done the nervous laugh more times than they can count, who has smiled at jokes they didn't get, who has nodded along to conversations they only half understood, who has carried the secret feeling of fraud for years. We are going to free you from that pattern today.
Stay with us. We have the psychology of why we fake comprehension, the hidden cost of the nervous laugh, the authority paradox that explains why asking actually increases your standing, the full toolkit of power phrases, a role play showing the nervous laugh versus the power phrase response, and a word tour with 6 powerful B2 to C1 words.
Quick comment question before we begin. Be honest, have you done the nervous laugh this week? Drop a yes or no. We genuinely want to know how universal this experience is.
Okay, let's name the moment. So Mark, let's start with the psychology. Why do learners fake comprehension instead of asking?
Okay, there are 3 deep psychological reasons, and all of them are real, all of them are understandable, and all of them are based on assumptions that turn out to be wrong.
Walk us through them.
Reason 1, social belonging. We are wired to want to belong, and in the moment when everyone else laughs, the group has a shared experience. If you don't laugh, you stand out, you become visibly separate from the group, and the brain registers this as a small social danger, so the laugh comes out automatically to stay inside the group.
Reason 2, self-protection of image, especially at work, especially with colleagues. The learner thinks, if I admit I didn't understand, they will think my English is bad. They will think I am not as competent as I seem. They will lose respect for me. So the fake laugh is a small image protection move.
Reason 3, conflict avoidance. Stopping the conversation to ask a question feels like interrupting, like making the moment about yourself, like putting friction into the social flow, so the learner stays quiet to avoid creating awkwardness, even though the staying quiet is the very thing creating the disconnect.
3 reasons: belonging, image, conflict avoidance. And every single one of them is based on a hidden assumption that is wrong.
Wrong how?
Assumption 1, that laughing along makes you part of the group. It doesn't. Faking laughter creates the appearance of connection, but not the reality of it. The group thinks you understood the joke. You know you didn't. So you are now in a relationship with the group based on a tiny lie, and tiny lies accumulate until you feel less and less truly connected, even as the group sees you as more and more included.
Assumption 2, that admitting confusion damages your image. It usually doesn't. We're going to explain in a moment why asking, when done well, actually raises your authority instead of lowering it.
Assumption 3, that asking interrupts the moment. It does slightly, but the interruption is so small, so brief, that it disappears within seconds, and in exchange for that small interruption, you get something enormous: real understanding, real participation, real connection.
And once learners see these assumptions clearly, the nervous laugh starts to feel less automatic because the rewards they thought they were getting from it are mostly illusions and the costs are very real.
Let's actually talk about the costs, because I think learners minimize them. They think, what's the harm of one nervous laugh, or 2, or 50?
And the harm is real. Let me name 3 specific costs.
Cost 1.
Cost 1, the growing fraud feeling. Every nervous laugh deposits a small contribution to your internal sense of being a fraud. Over years, this accumulates. You start to feel, in English settings, that you are constantly performing rather than being, which is exhausting and which slowly erodes your professional confidence in ways that show up everywhere, and your willingness to speak up, and your willingness to lead, and your willingness to be seen.
Cost 2, the loss of real learning moments. When you don't understand a joke or a phrase or a reference, that is one of the most powerful learning moments available to you. The other person is right there. They could explain it in 3 seconds, and you would have a new piece of native English that you didn't have before. But the nervous laugh closes that door. The learning moment passes, and you are no smarter than you were before.
Cost 3, the damage to real relationships. When you fake comprehension repeatedly with the same people, those people never get to see the real you. They see your performed version. They build the relationship with the version that always laughs at the right moments. So when occasionally you do show your real confusion, it actually surprises them, and the relationship feels less authentic than it should.
3 costs: fraud feeling, lost learning, damaged relationships. And every nervous laugh is a small deposit toward each of them.
Which brings us to the central paradox of today's episode, the authority paradox, because I think learners assume that asking lowers their authority, and actually, when done well, asking raises it, and we need to explain why.
Yes, this is the insight that changes everything.
Here's the truth. In professional contexts, the people who ask for clarification confidently are seen as more secure, not less, because asking is a sign that you care about real understanding. Faking is a sign that you are more concerned with image than substance. And executives, leaders, and senior people often pick up on this difference subtly, even unconsciously.
And the person who confidently says, "Wait, can you explain that? I want to make sure I got it right," signals something powerful. They signal that they are secure enough to admit a gap, that they are intellectually serious, that they prioritize accuracy over performance. These are all qualities that high-functioning professionals respect.
And the opposite is true too. The person who is constantly faking understanding, nodding without knowing, never asking, is often perceived as slightly less serious, slightly less engaged, slightly less trustworthy, because something is invisibly off. The contributions are slightly out of sync, the responses don't quite match, and colleagues often unconsciously notice.
So the nervous laugh is not protecting your image. In many cases, it is quietly damaging it, while the confident clarification request is actually strengthening it.
And this is what we want learners to understand. Asking is power. Asking is professionalism. Asking is what advanced operators do. And once you adopt this frame, the nervous laugh starts to feel uncomfortable in a new way, not because you are afraid to ask, but because you realize the asking would have served you better.
Which brings us to the toolkit, the power phrases. Because the willingness to ask is one thing, having the exact language ready to deploy in real time is another.
Yes, let me give the audience 5 power phrases, each one designed for a different context, each one carrying authority, each one signaling that you are present, engaged, and secure enough to ask.
Let's go through them.
Power phrase 1 for jokes you didn't catch.
Wait, I missed that. What was the punchline? Or, I think I missed the reference. What is that about? These are perfect because they are casual, warm, and curious. They invite the person to share the joke a second time, often with even more energy. Most native speakers love explaining a joke to someone who is genuinely curious. It actually deepens the connection.
Power phrase 2 for idioms or expressions you didn't understand.
I haven't heard that expression before. What does it mean? Or, quick question, is that a common phrase? These signal intellectual curiosity, and they often turn into mini language lessons that make you feel closer to the speaker, not further apart.
Power phrase 3 for complex points in a fast meeting.
Sorry, can I just pause for a second to make sure I understood that? Or can you walk me through that one more time? I want to make sure I'm tracking with you. These signal that you are taking the conversation seriously, that you care about accuracy, that you want to engage with the real substance.
Power phrase 4 for cultural references you missed.
I think there's a cultural reference there I didn't catch. Can you fill me in? Or what's the context for that? I don't know it. These are wonderful because they invite the other person to share their culture with you, which most people enjoy doing, and they make you look thoughtful and interested in the world.
Power phrase 5 for when you missed an entire sentence due to speed.
Sorry, I lost you for a second. Can you back up? Or quick rewind. I want to catch the last bit. These are completely normal and used by native speakers all the time. They have zero negative implication. They simply slow the conversation by a few seconds, and those few seconds are an investment that pays back in real comprehension.
5 power phrases. Memorize at least 1 or 2. Practice them out loud so they feel comfortable in your mouth, so that when the next moment of confusion arrives, you have something ready to deploy instead of the nervous laugh.
And what happens over time is the power phrases start to feel natural. You stop dreading the asking moment. You start to see it as a tool, a way to participate more fully, a way to actually understand the conversation. And the nervous laugh slowly disappears, not because you forced it away, because it stops being necessary.
Okay, let's do a role play. Sophie, set the scene.
Yes, the scene is a work lunch, 3 colleagues. Mark, you'll play one of them. You're going to tell a joke that uses a cultural reference, then I'll show 2 versions of the response. First, the nervous laugh, then the power phrase.
Okay, here's my joke. We're talking about the new manager, and someone mentions how strict she is. And I say, yeah, she runs that team like Bill Belichick runs the Patriots. No nonsense, all results.
Version 1, the nervous laugh. Yeah, totally. Wow. Yeah.
And what just happened? Sophie laughed at a sports reference she doesn't know. Bill Belichick is a famous American football coach. If you didn't grow up with American football, the reference is invisible. And so Sophie laughed at the form of a joke she didn't understand. She is now slightly disconnected from the moment, and the colleagues think she got it, but she didn't.
And the small fraud feeling settles in. Another deposit, another invisible cost.
Now version 2, the power phrase.
Quick question. I don't know that reference. Who's Bill Belichick?
And in that single question, several wonderful things happen. The colleagues immediately realize they made a culturally specific joke. One of them lights up and explains, "Oh, Bill Belichick is the legendary coach of the New England Patriots. He's known for being incredibly strict and getting results." And the other colleague adds a follow-up comment, and suddenly you are not on the outside of the joke. You are at the center of the conversation. People are explaining things to you. People are sharing context. People are connecting with you.
And the real magic is you didn't lose authority. You gained it because you signaled that you are confident enough to ask, that you are curious, that you actually want to understand. Those colleagues will remember you as someone who is engaged, not as someone who pretended.
And 10 minutes later, you understand the joke. You can use the reference yourself if it ever comes up again. You have actually learned something. While the nervous laugh version of you would still be 10 minutes later having learned nothing, still slightly disconnected, still slightly performing.
Same situation, same colleagues, same joke. 2 completely different outcomes, created by one small choice, to ask instead of fake.
Word tour?
Word tour. First word, to feign. To feign means to pretend, to fake, to put on a false display. We feign interest, we feign understanding, and the nervous laugh is essentially a feigned reaction.
For example, many learners spend years feigning comprehension in English conversations without realizing how much it is costing them in real connection. Repeat, feign.
Feign.
Next, authority. Authority is the quality of commanding respect, trust, and influence. We talk about professional authority, speaking authority, personal authority. And the central insight of today is that asking confidently increases authority rather than decreasing it.
Repeat, authority.
Authority.
Next, to erode. To erode means to slowly wear away, to gradually weaken or destroy. We erode confidence, we erode trust, and the nervous laugh erodes both the learner's internal confidence and their long-term professional standing.
For example, faking comprehension repeatedly erodes your sense of being genuinely connected to the people around you, even when no one else can see what's happening. Repeat, erode.
Erode.
Next, comprehension. Comprehension is the act and ability of understanding. It is a slightly more advanced and elegant word than understanding, and it is the perfect word for talking about the gap between what is said and your actual comprehension of it.
Repeat, comprehension.
Comprehension.
Next, to deploy. To deploy means to use something strategically in a specific moment. We deploy resources, we deploy strategies, and today we have given you specific phrases to deploy in moments of confusion instead of defaulting to the nervous laugh.
For example, practice the power phrases out loud so that you can deploy them confidently in real conversations when speed and pressure make it hard to construct something new. Repeat, deploy.
Deploy.
And finally, authentic. Authentic means real, genuine, not pretending, the opposite of performed. And the entire purpose of replacing the nervous laugh with the power phrase is to make your participation in English conversations more authentic.
For example, real connection with others requires authentic participation, which means asking when you don't understand instead of performing understanding you don't actually have. Repeat, authentic.
Authentic.
6 words today: feign, authority, erode, comprehension, deploy, and authentic. Every one of them is a real, modern, useful English word that captures something specific about the dynamics of communication and identity.
And every one of them is a word that maps directly to the central insights of today's episode. Sophie, one final takeaway for everyone watching.
That the nervous laugh feels safe, but is actually one of the most costly habits in your English life. Every time you fake comprehension, you trade real connection for the illusion of belonging. You trade real learning for momentary comfort. You trade real authority for performed competence. And the trade is bad. Always.
And the fix is so simple. A few phrases, memorized, practiced, deployed. Phrases that turn the moment of confusion into a moment of curiosity, that signal strength, not weakness, that deepen connection instead of damaging it, and that turn every missed joke into a learning opportunity instead of a fraud deposit.
And the version of you who currently fakes laughter through dinners and meetings is not who you really are. That version is a survival strategy, a way of protecting your image at the cost of your authenticity. Once you replace it with the power phrases, the real you starts to show up in those rooms. The curious you, the engaged you, the you who is secure enough to ask.
And once that version of you shows up, your colleagues, your friends, your acquaintances see something they didn't see before. They see the real you, which is the only version of you that can build real relationships in English.
Small challenge before we go. For the next 7 days, replace 1 nervous laugh per day with 1 power phrase. Just 1. The first time you don't catch something, instead of laughing or nodding, deploy a power phrase. Wait, I missed that. What does that mean? Or, quick question, what was the reference? Anything. Just 1 per day.
And notice what happens. Notice how the moment doesn't crash the way you feared. Notice how the other person responds, often with warmth and energy. Notice how the conversation continues, often closer than before. Notice how you walk away knowing something you didn't know before.
And the cumulative effect after 7 days is real. 7 moments where you participated authentically instead of performing. 7 new pieces of English you actually understand. 7 small confirmations that asking is safer, smarter, and more powerful than faking.
Drop a comment after the week. Tell us how it went. Tell us which power phrase you used. Tell us how the other person responded. We want to see the data.
Because the moment a learner realizes they can stop faking and start asking without losing anything is one of the most freeing moments in language learning. It changes your relationship with English forever, from performance to participation, from hiding to engaging, from fraud feeling to real belonging.
I'm Mark.
I'm Sophie.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being willing to name a habit that almost nobody talks about.
Stop faking. Start asking. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.